Good day, viewers around the world. Good day to you. Happy Friday. It's morning here in Milan, Italy. My name is Godwin Iweajunwa, and you are welcome to News Echoes World Affairs, our Friday update for our global audience. With me should be my colleagues and coordinators, different parts of the world, but I'm yet to see them. Anyway, the show goes on. You are welcome, viewers. You are welcome. Today is Friday, the 15th day of March 2024, and we have so many updates to give here. So many updates. Hope the Ramadan season is going well. This is the Ramadan season, like you all know. But one question remains: observing Ramadan in this period of very hard economic situation, even with the backdrop of war in most part of a not Muslim-centered country, how will it be? So drop your question. Let's talk about some of these things. These are issues that affects us human in this time, and we need to really look at them. So how is observing Ramadan against the backdrop of war, against economic hard situations? How is it to still observe that this wonderful special season of a year when Muslims get at one with their Creator? It's important to be in that season, but these factors that are affecting are issues to consider. Anyway, you're welcome. News Echoes Global Friday, the 15th of March. Let me begin with some of the updates that we have while I'm expecting my coordinators and friends from the different parts of the world. Yes, we are getting news of the situation in Haiti. Haiti situation is escalating. Haiti is that country right there in South America, and it's going through a lot right about now. As we're talking, most Haitians are fleeing from their country and running into Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic is a border town to Haiti. So as the unrest grows in Haiti, people are running to the Dominican Republic. And interestingly, the Dominican Republic government says they don't want anybody to come over to come take asylum in their country. So this is what we are looking at. Haiti is brewing. The unrest is increasing every day. This is the picture you see there is the border town between Dominica and Haiti. And they are not allowing the Haitians to come in. The Dominican Republic government says no, but a total of 350,000 people have been displaced in Haiti as we talk right about now. Those are soldiers have unlocked the doors. They've locked the doors. They said they don't want any migrants to come in. So this is what we are seeing now. It's a terrible situation there in Haiti. Haiti is in real unrest. They want the president, the prime minister, to step down, and he won't step down until probably some negotiations are made. So Haiti is unrest, and the demand is for the prime minister to step down. There are units of gang violence obscuring around the country. In fact, the main port, Haiti port, is one of the places where the country makes money from economically, and that port has been closed because the country is in turmoil. The Haiti government also has called for an emergency of all these gangs. United Nations office have also warned that health situations will also collapse in the country because a lot of those services and what it needs to take care of people that are ill are not in check. So there's shortage of medicine and staff, and the gang violence is spreading very, very fast. Police stations are being destroyed. People are fleeing the state. People are fleeing the country. The worst part of where it's hitting is Port-au-Prince. That's the capital. So this is what we're seeing now. One of the main character behind this whole unrest is a man called Jimmy Barbecue. Jimmy Barbecue is an influential gang leader in Haiti. He's one of those behind this whole thing, and we are seeing it that he probably wants to be the prime minister if the prime minister steps down. Um, the prime minister, Mr. Henry, left the country about 2 weeks ago, and since then he's not been able to return into the country. They held him. They said he can't come in, so he couldn't land at the Haiti capital airport because soldiers were there trying to fight with gunmen that seized the airport. So this is what we're seeing. Haiti is in turmoil and it's spreading every now and then. Haiti is not doing good at all. Take note that Haiti is coming out from an earthquake that ravaged the country, and now they've plunged themselves into these unrests. So I hope my colleagues will come so we can talk more on this. Haiti is in turmoil. Haiti gang violence is increasing. Situations are not looking good. Health facilities has broken down. People are falling sick. Nobody to attend to them, and that's the situation in Haiti. So while we're talking, and update just came in now. We're seeing an update from the Nigerian Ghana embassy. We need to follow this up. He says that the ambassador to Nigeria, the ambassador to Ghana, that's Rashid Bawa, the Ghana High Commissioner to Nigeria, is dead. So this is the update we're getting now. Rashid Bawa, Ghana High Commissioner to Nigeria, is dead. So yes, real-time news. Joining me in faraway Moscow, Russia, is my coordinator and brother, Dr. Godwin Ibe. Dr. Godwin Ibe, welcome to Friday World Affairs, SSM World Affairs. How are you?
Fine. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Aha, now we can hear you. Yes, it's good to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're okay.
Sure.
Can you hear me? Good. Yes, I started with the news of Haiti. The Haiti situation is getting out of control. Now, United Nations says about 300,000 people are internally displaced, and about 15,000 of them also are being held in different situations because of lack of health facility. So, what do you have on Haiti, Godwin?
As I remember,
Mm-hmm.
the government has lost control of the
Yes.
capital,
Uh-huh.
and that means that um, basically there's need for a change.
Mm-hmm.
There's need for a change of government or change or let the people bring in people who are capable. But I think it's more like an eruption of problem that has been swept under the rug for a long time, where voices have been suppressed and the people do not believe that the policies are representative of their interests. So basically, we are seeing sympathy um, of the fighters or the do I call them freedom fighters or do I call them resistance? They have entrenched sympathy in the population,
Mm-hmm.
which signals that whatever they are doing seems to
Mm-hmm.
be seen as being in the interest of the
Of the people.
population.
Okay, that image we just saw is a situation also that is not looking too good, Dr. Godwin. They are trying to run to the Dominican Republic for shelter. These displaced people are running there now. That you see, this is the border town of Haiti and Dominican Republic. Now, the Dominican Republic government came and said, no, 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 they don't want anybody to come over to their country. This is the news I had as at yesterday. Al Jazeera is also reporting this. So, is it not a shame that in a situation like this, a neighboring country cannot be a shelter, cannot help, knowing that these people are helpless people, these people need solace, they need a place over their head, and they are not the one that started this unrest in the first place. So is it not a shame that Dominican Republic is acting this way to their neighbors?
No, absolutely, it's not a shame.
It's
Yeah,
not a
it's not
shame.
It's not the Dominican Republic's problem.
Hmm.
Not every country believes in those lax woke policies on immigration.
Hmm.
You cannot put the indigenes, the locals, their interests at risk because you're trying to virtue signal that you're some kind of good person, you're kind of more humanitarian than any other person else. Everywhere there are interests and the idea of a sovereign country is a country that takes decisions based on its interests and is a rational player on the world stage. So while it's good to help your neighbors, you should do it in consultation with the nationals, the locals, and find out where you can make compromises and carry everybody along. But the idea of some kind of universal goods where you misplace your priorities and obviously go against interests of the locals is definitely the height of madness. It's not
Hmm.
help. It's actually, in fact, it's a coping mechanism. It's good to be kind, but not nice.
It's good to be kind,
It's good to be
but
kind,
not
but not,
nice.
yeah, unnecessarily nice. It is a coping mechanism where you try to do things not necessarily in your own interest so that you can get the approval of another. The problem with that is that it's not sustainable. And
Hmm.
not only is it not sustainable, um, actually shows an element of irresponsibility and selfishness.
Wow. Thank you. That's your take. Thank you very much. Anyway, Haiti, that's it, viewers. Haiti is on the loose there, and immigrants are being deported back from Dominican Republic. That people that want to have shelter in the neighboring country. Haiti is on the loose, and we fear that it might escalate more and more. And what people are probably saying is the gang leader of one of those gang, barbecue, might become the prime minister. So let's see how that plays out from now till the weekend. Thank you, Godwin. Um, let's move on, Godwin. Godwin, you were giving some take on the what's happening with your place. I don't know. Can we have some updates on what is happening in with the Ukraine and Russia war? Because what we have is this. Let me give you my few updates from my corner. What we have here, it says Ukrainians are still holding their own despite the heavy bombing during the week. And despite the fact that no more aid has been coming from the United States, it was this morning that the EU has agreed to send 5 billion euros to boost their military aid to Ukraine. This morning we got the news, but it's been some very strong fighting, strong bombing in the past week from Russia. So, what's your take on this? And take note that while all this is happening, some neighboring countries are joining the NATO, joining forces. And while they join, you know what follows. You have those arrangements to defend borders, defend their territories. So Sweden, like we know, officially joined, and Sweden joined last week, and more countries are probably going to be joining too. So what's that? What's that? We had that also. Putin has sent troops to the Finnish border because he has to. So let's hear what you have from your corner, Godwin. The Ukraine Russia updates. Yes, we lost your volume.
Okay, sorry. Let me try to unpack it so that I don't miss anything. First of all, you talked
Yeah.
about the Finnish border. You
Mm-hmm.
talked about Sweden joining NATO. Yes.
So yeah, yeah, that's correct.
Then you talked about the
EU
situation in
giving some 5 billion military aid.
Russian border.
Mhm.
And EU military aid. Yes.
Yes.
And it's a lot to pack. And last, what did you talk about? If
Hmm.
I didn't miss anything,
That
but okay.
yeah, the fighting recently, some really hard bombing, and I saw
Mhm,
some of the videos you sent also.
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
some real
mhm,
strong fighting going
mhm.
on. Eastern Donetsk
Yes, yes,
region.
yes.
Some of those places were real.
Okay.
Hmm.
Let's start with the Finnish border. Russia has always had no objection. It doesn't have a right to determine how Finland runs its domestic or foreign policy, but it
Okay.
has said that as a matter of emotional attachment, it has no emotional attachment to Finland or
Okay.
Sweden joining. Not like they had the right to stop it, but it has no emotional attachment to that. Now concerning Finland and Sweden joining NATO,
Hmm.
it's congratulations, they're fulfilling their wish. It has nothing to do with Russia because Russia is not a state you can invade, and in a way that it sees it as an existential threat because it's a nuclear state. It has 145 million population.
Yeah.
These state nations are in terms of military that are able to be mobilized. Russia has the surge capacity advantage. So it's there's no question. There's no the real. It's just a miscalculation. The increased risk of miscalculation and
Hmm.
potential for what you call it's called what do you call it again?
Hmm.
Preemptive
Preemptive
miscalculation.
miscalculation.
When you make a mistake and assume that an existential threat is imminent, and then you take some decisions which may not represent the
Interest of the
humanitarian
people.
lives, yeah, the interest of humanitarian lives.
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
concerning Russian border,
Hmm.
there's been incursions by Russian-speaking Ukrainians in Russian border, and well, the videos have shown so many of them being destroyed, loss of lives, 200, over 250 dead, military equipment destroyed, including Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, Leopard tanks, and the rest. It's very
Yeah.
sad. A lot of people think like. It should be celebrated that any human is dying. I don't subscribe to that. For
No.
me, I think it's a tragic loss for
Yes.
any
Yes.
soldier to die because
Mhm.
they are patriotic,
They are
doing
human.
what
They're
they're
human.
humans. They are doing what they are told to do, and
Mhm.
they are following orders. And many of them actually believe that they are fighting for their country. So
Okay.
it's sad, but I have a problem with the generals and commanders who know better, who know the risk, who know where they are meat grinders, who know the risk of making it out there alive, who know the kind of support they'll receive if they call for one, who knows the artillery ratio range, and yet send meat to be grinded
Grinded.
at the border. It's very, very sad, and I think those are people to face. Now, concerning EU aid and EU aid, it's like if I told you, like, like you had a Christmas chicken, and the chicken was butchered, and I told you, like, well, it didn't yet die, but you just sliced off the head, and I told you, well, the chicken is still alive and standing, still alive and standing, despite this, it being sacrificed, and it's still alive and standing. You have to be brain dead to think that, like, I take like it's standing temporarily as some kind of
Okay.
long-term projection.
Yeah.
Why I'm saying this is that in terms of what's going on the ground,
Mhm.
the Eastern and Western publication agree that Russia has a artillery advantage, sometimes firepower of
Mhm.
some claim as much as 10-1. If that
Okay.
is the case, then it means by definition, Russia cannot be the one um, sending humans as meat grinders just by
Okay.
definition.
Yes, by
The,
definition.
And then no, I
Yeah.
haven't finished. I haven't finished. And also,
Okay,
it also
because
means that
uh
gaining new territory is only a matter of time, because to soften targets, you just need to have an artillery firepower and
yeah.
advantage. So that's, and of course we've seen the force mobilization in Russia. It was
Mhm.
one reason why the ex-head of the army, Ukraine army, Zaluzhny, resigned, because he wanted 500,000 plus mobilization. It was not possible. And Abdivka was taking in much less time than the 2 3 months which he
Yes.
projected. So it shows the scale of the problem.
I want to interject by saying Putin will be running for a third term. Will this what does that add to all of this? Will it increase the war, or probably begin to reduce his I mean, look more into domestic issues inside Russia, look more into economic issues instead of um, this? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. Yes, it affects both the internal and external calculus. I mean, internal in
Mhm.
sense that he has one thing off his shoulders, and now he can focus on implementing his policies. Number two,
That's
externally,
right.
those who are pushing for regime change in Russia will see,
Mhm.
well, you can no more pushing by through non-governmental organizations sponsoring them and thinking that
Yes.
it can be rigged and he'll be pushed out through through the ballot. So that is
Mm.
also one burden, as how do I say, it's just one extra burden off their
But
soldiers supposedly. But due to the fact that he's still having an approval rating of 80%, as agreed in all publications, he's the people's mandate. Obviously, there's nobody who doubts that he'll win. But there are other candidates. There are four presidential candidates, and it's
mhm.
clear that President Putin is the clear favorite. I don't think anyone doubts that.
Thank you. Straight up. Viewers, you are watching our Friday edition of News Echoes World Affairs. And I'm here with my man, my coordinator, my brother, Dr. Godwin eBay from Moscow, Russia. Dr. Godwin, thank you. Dr. Godwin, let's move on to this before we go on a small break. You probably followed the story of America trying to ban that apps called TikTok. Viewers, we all know what TikTok is. It's an app by a company called ByteDance, a Chinese company. Now, the United States government says they want to. There's a House bill that is going on. It's not yet been said it's banned. It's just a process that's going on, and that process is to remove that app from the United States App Store, from their App Store, both in the Mac and the Android. And their reason is so many. They said so many things. Anyway, China has also said that the ban will mean a lot to many users in the United States. And it says that app doesn't even threaten the American national security, but the American national security said it threatens them. They said that app gives for viewers to understand the storyline. It says that the app gives the Chinese government, the Chinese people, the data of Americans. That is potentially it's in the hands of the Chinese people somehow, and that's a fact. So it says the owner also, since he's a Chinese person, is under obligation to hand such data to the government. And this is now putting that app in such a jeopardy, such a situation where people will not want to use it again in the United States. Now, what that means is once it's passed in America, once it's banned in America, it might replicate around Europe and most parts of the world. So, and that app, like a lot of people are saying, is a very essential app. It's not just an app for videos and stuff. It is also a business app for some small business people. So, Godwin, what's your take on this? Let's break it down. TikTok, America banning TikTok, and all this story. What's the take?
It's very laughable.
It's too much.
Extremely laughable. But let
Yeah.
me try to be professional.
Okay.
They say how you lay your bed is how you lie on it.
Uh-huh.
TikTok placed its bet on the US market. It
Okay.
did a lot to please the US,
Market.
and it refused to diversify, even see its potential outside the US market. And because he placed all his bet on the US market, I kind of believe it deserves what it gets. If it's the US property, then the US has the right to deal with its property the way it
Property.
wants.
That's correct.
Now, about calling it a
Sorry.
Chinese firm, it cannot be further away from the truth. The
No,
owners
it
of
is.
TikTok owns. Let me finish. Let me
Okay.
finish.
Okay. Go
The
ahead.
owners, the founders of TikTok own just 20% of the share in the
Mm-hmm.
company. By definition, majority is not owned by Chinese people. By
Okay,
definition.
but the Byte Dance company is China.
It's
It's
been
a Chinese.
separated. It's been separated. Well,
Uh,
there's a difference. There's a difference in origin of a company, founder of a company, and the
well,
investors. The
though
majority investors.
it's registered in Cayman Island, I think. Yes,
Yes,
Cayman.
yes, yes. It's been
But,
re-registered. China,
mhm,
So let me finish. Let me
mhm.
finish. So
Okay.
the practically calling it a Chinese social media firm by definition is a fat lie, because anybody, you can call Tesla as well, maybe an African company, because the founder is from Africa in that case. And that is rubbish. The founders are definitely Chinese, yes, but it's not a Chinese company because it's not majorly owned by China. Only 20% are owned by the founder. That's number one. Number two, both the registration of the company, yes, you've
Yes.
rightly pointed it out. Number three, the data centers for the users in the are stored in North America, over there, not in China. And then they
Um,
have a kind of quality assurance team, quality control team
mhm.
that are in constant consultation with the US regulation body to ensure that TikTok complies from a security standpoint with US laws. So you see that the threat is fictitious
Okay,
to
but
start with.
let me help you. Yes, normally when you have such a company, you sell shares. Now it is in that time that you're talking about.
Yes,
Shares have been sold, and
yes.
sometimes too, owners of company buy shares even in their company.
No, we are talking about the current
So,
state here, just the current state of.
yes. So the 20% you're talking about is the share owned by ByteDance. Do
By the
you
Chinese
understand?
people, by any Chinese citizen.
Uh-huh. So
So,
so
yeah,
uh-huh.
the Chinese
Okay.
founders, they own just 20%. So by definition, it is not a Chinese company because it is owned equally by North Americans and some fair percentage also by other people who are not in North America. But the Chinese have no more right than US over the
Well,
policies taken by the
but
company
mhm.
and the data centers. The code is run in America. So they have the territorial control over how TikTok operates. And the Chinese citizens do not use TikTok. They have an alternative called Douyin, which they use and which the state controls. So there's no even chance of the misinformation from the government or from Chinese citizens because they are just not on TikTok. They're on Douyin, and an alternative which was demarcated from TikTok to serve the
Okay,
Chinese
but
population.
you see, one thing we should take note is this: there's a cold war between America and China. It's not a hidden thing; it's open. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody knows. So
yes.
when you're in that state of governance intergovernance, you're
Mm.
careful about everything. Everything could be used against you.
But I was
And take
I was
note.
getting to that. Mhm.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was getting to that. So now that we've been able to establish that it's not a Chinese company, but they
Hmm.
only have 20% Chinese investors, we can now
Hmm.
say, okay, if security is the main focus of America, why then do they allow China to build critical infrastructure? Why then do China own most of their debt? Why then do China operate some data centers in the US? Why are a lot of Chinese were given visas to study in the most prestigious universities with access to the latest cutting edge technology?
Okay,
You
those
would
why
think, wait, no,
those
no, let
why
me don't interrupt. I haven't
yeah,
finished. I haven't
no,
finished.
because
You
we
would
need to go
think,
on a break. We need to go
yeah,
on a
okay,
break. Those why
just
okay,
quickly.
summarize. Okay,
You would
go ahead.
think that those things are much
Mhm.
more important than a
Yeah.
social media app.
in any real sense of security, those things are much more important than the social media app. But because freedom of speech is under threat and the priorities are misplaced, so they've decided to make TikTok the scapegoat.
So, but you know that also, if you talk of freedom of speech, I mean, Chinese are not. They are not.
We are not speaking about China. We're talking about an American.
Yeah.
We're not speaking about China now, because China is not the owner. We've established that. I'm talking about from a U.S. perspective, security standpoint. They are trying to make control or protect themselves from espionage, infiltration by external actors. And based on from that U.S. perspective, then TikTok will not be the foremost.
Yes, but this thing about TikTok not being Chinese is not confounded, my friend. What I know very well from, I mean, I'm in the media space. ByteDance is a Beijing-based firm, but it is registered in Cayman's Island. That's all I know about that.
No. You're talking about the founder, but if it's registered in Cayman,
not founder.
ByteDance is the founding company. Yes, you're repeating.
Beijing owns the company.
Listen. Beijing owns the company, but they re-registered. No, they split the company. No. Listen. You're misinforming viewers.
No,
a company can split.
You are misinforming viewers.
No,
you can Google.
No. I know about ByteDance. You didn't introduce ByteDance to me. If I didn't know about it, I would tell you about it. So ByteDance clearly is ByteDance clearly
is registered in Cayman Island.
So if it's registered in Cayman, yes, it was founded in Cayman.
No. Believe me, you're mumbling it up. Okay, let's come back with this argument.
I'm not mumbling it. I'm telling you that it is registered in Cayman Island means it is not a Chinese company. And most of the investors are not Chinese.
They are all Chinese people. You're being that. Have you seen all the guys? Have you seen all ByteDance guys? They're all Chinese guys. So let's come to this. We'll come back. Viewers, it's interesting. Yes, me and Godwin, eBay, Moscow, Russia, we are tackling it here. TikTok is about to be banned in the United States. This is Friday, World News Affairs, and we'll be right back. Thank you, Godwin. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Mary Keurig, and I am a businesswoman in the United States, but I'm also the Global Content Vice President for the Sub-Saharan Open University in Nigeria. I could not be prouder to work with Dr. Osita Anamika and his team on helping to create not just entrepreneurs and skill-based talent that will get out into the workforce and make a living for themselves, but also young leaders. And to that end, with this integrity-rich university environment that's accredited now, and it's just an amazing opportunity for anyone there of any age to jump on board and learn, we want to let you know about a new offering that we have. We have a global governance and diplomacy course now provided by a whole team of people that crosses several countries to put together these resources and lots of great information for those of you who might be on the path toward public service and diplomatic service, NGO leadership, that sort of thing. We hope that you will walk through this open door and enjoy.
Viewers, you're back. You're tuned back to our program Friday morning here in Milan. World news updates with my friend, my brother, Dr. Godwin. Dr. Godwin, let's I know you want to conclude on the TikTok thing, but there's still more news to update our viewers, and we have quite some number of them with us. Do we go ahead with the other news?
Yeah, I just want to add. I just want to add
Okay.
that I confirmed. I confirmed one more time from the internet that TikTok Limited, as it's called, is a subsidiary of ByteDance. It's registered. That is what is registered in the Cayman
Island. Yeah.
Yes. TikTok. And TikTok is controlled 60% by US investors. And even ByteDance is predominantly owned by US investors. So
shareholders.
That means that the policies in the company and the voting rights, that means the people who direct the policies in the company are the main investors, not China, but the main investors, because they own both voting right and
all right,
right,
my man. Anyway, because I mean, like I said, China and America is in Cold War. You don't never lose your guard when you're in any in that line, opposition. Never lose your guard. So any means to block your
but you haven't commented. How do you not lose your guard with infrastructure, debt, for example?
Okay, let's go on to other
news.
Let's go to other news. I know you have that thing there. Anyway, there's something brewing with the Hamas Israel update. As at yesterday, it looks as if Biden and Netanyahu are in a rift, and it's beginning to look like it's an open rift. We all know that at the beginning of the war, when that thing struck on October 7th, yes, United States supported Israel. They sent 2 aircraft carriers, and they helped in so many things with Israel. But now there is a small difference, the two of them. Biden says Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israel prime minister, is blocking them from taking aid to people that needs it. And so what we're seeing is when there is this indifference, I think maybe the war might even begin to round up. Well, Godwin, are you following the thing? Coupled with the fact that Chuck Schumer, United States Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, also says that there should be an election that will replace Benjamin Netanyahu as soon as possible. He's asking for Benjamin to be out, and he says because Benjamin Netanyahu is not helping the situation at hand now. So America is no more aligning with Israel on this whole Hamas thing. They're taking it too far, and America says it's time to stop. I mean, let them get food over to those that need to be fed, and let this whole thing stop. So I know you have a lot to say on this. So give us small thing, give us some take, Godwin. Thank you.
You said giving a good summary of the incident, but the point is, what really can the US do? What can it do? What can it do? Can it maybe stop aid or weapon supplies to Israel? Will it do that? It won't do that. Obviously, it's even helped Israel, giving Israel more ammunition than it's giving Ukraine. And it's since the conflict since October 7th, for example, and it sees Israel as a much more strategic partner than Ukraine, for example. So what really can they do? Let's not chase shadows, right? Let him go, and all the rhetorics and all the I hate him, I love him. It means nothing if you are supplying weapons, you're supplying financial aid, and basically you are voting for them in the United Nations. You're providing diplomatic shield whenever the case of human rights abuses and killings of civilian arrangements, that you are providing diplomatic veto. You're vetoing all the South African and other people. But then you come back home and then you say, I don't like you. I don't like
No,
you.
but no,
You understand what I mean, right?
it's a new development. It's yes, they did all of this, like you said. We all know Israel remains United States remains Israel's closest ally and provides all those things, like you said. But it's changing. You know, something. Yesterday is yesterday. Today is a new day.
No. What I'm saying today, as of today,
Yes.
there is no plans to withhold any funding from Israel or to stop supporting Israel diplomatically. Nothing has changed in actions. What is changed in words? Until we see concrete policy changes, then we can begin to make some kind of projection.
No,
but what we can say is that
Mhm.
a lot of people have always been, for quite a while, trying to hide their face with the clear judgment from the International Court of Justice that there is plausible genocidal activities of Israel, according to International Court of Justice. Right? It's a difficult scandal to hide behind, and a lot of people, even in the US, do not like that it has gotten to this stage. And it's not that's not new. They're just speaking about it more, but as well, they also understand their strategic interest. It's in protecting Israel and keeping Israel as their main foothold in the Middle East. Is their main foothold in the Middle East. So when you consider all that, I do not see a situation where there will be reduction in military, financial aid, or diplomatic shielding as they've been done. For me, I love Israel. I mean, I love Israel, and I separate Israel from the genocidal Zionism which is being perpetrated.
Yes.
I love Jews. I love Israel so much, but I believe that it wasn't unnecessary, the route they've taken to murder lots of civilians in Palestine.
But now that the House is also talking about it, the U.S. State Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is talking about it. I think some concrete actions will be followed up.
Mark my words. Mark my words. Mark my words. Mark my words. And I will stand here to defend it. Yes, mark my words. There will be no announcement. There will be no announcement of a reduction in aid, military or financial wise, because, and if peradventure that will not happen, but if peradventure I am wrong and it happens, the political implication for a person who went out with such policy will be very grave, because Israel has a big foothold in U.S. politics.
But on top of all of this, this morning, this is coming in as we're talking, the Houthi rebel group has threatened to expand the attack on ship to other side of the waters. This is not good. So that means that we will still be on this, because they are taking it to the other side of the water. It's no more that strip. It's no more that Egypt. It's now they are not taking it further.
You talk about the Houthi rebels, right?
The Houthi rebels, all in solidarity for the Palestinians. Also, I will also add this, that if America is talking about Benjamin Netanyahu's reaction, Palestinian leader Abbas should be called to order too, because all of this is also part of his problem. We're in this whole situation because of the decisions they make, allowing a rebel group to influence his government. So it's not looking good now. Poor people are suffering. Go ahead.
No, it's actually a wrong conclusion, because we know quite well. When I initially said it, was someone were doubting, but I think there's a unique consensus now that Israel Netanyahu sponsored Hamas and saw it as a means of keeping them separate from the PLO in Palestine, and saw it as an asset. He actually saw Hamas as an asset in Palestine politics. And we can see that it's actually a very grave mistake. I would say that even Benjamin Netanyahu supported Hamas more than Abbas. You know, so it's and he wanted to see Hamas thrive much more than Abbas. So you see, you're blaming the wrong person. But you see, the Houthis tested a solid fuel hypersonic missile with very high lethality, capable of reaching speeds of up to Mach 8. That's like 10,000 kilometers per hour. increasing their capability significantly. And of course, there are no air defense in the world that is capable of stopping hypersonic missiles right now, except I think the S-500, which were released by Russia recently. So yes, we can see that their capabilities are increasing. The West also, in lots of publications, agree that the campaign against the Houthis have been largely ineffective, and there's still loss of trade ships. U.S. ships have been attacked, British ships have been attacked, trade is still being attacked. So there's
is affecting the
there's
food
no,
chain
they're
distribution.
affecting food chain. So there's no result,
Mhm.
from the bombing campaign, just more losses and more losses.
More
So
losses and more losses.
yeah, it's obvious that we're in a new era where people just no one actually listens to the backing of not NATO or backing of the US. They just do what they want, and
Everybody's
don't
doing what
care.
they want.
No,
Everybody's doing what they want. Thank you very much, Godwin. Godwin, good insight, viewers. Thank you very much. You're tuned into News Echoes World Affairs Friday, 15th March. Godwin, let's go further to other news. There are lots of things happening, like you said. Godwin, before we started, even I gave a little tip on something. I said, with the rate of the economic situation and with this whole war around the Middle East, how will the Muslims be observing their special month of Ramadan? Do you have some small talk on that? Can you say something? I mean, Ramadan is going on, and you have all these wars, all these things happening. I mean, you can't put that to. It's crazy, don't you think so?
No, it's crazy. I mean, it's their month of fasting, and they're coming on fasting,
And yeah,
prayer, soberness, and the rest.
and all these things are
Yeah,
happening.
we celebrate with them and congratulate them. But one thing that the problem in the Middle East has done is that it's unified Muslims around the world.
Okay.
For once, we see Sunni and Shiites on the same page. I mean,
Yes, for once.
what a miracle! What a
What a miracle.
miracle that Israel did to tell the Muslims, like, look, your ancestral generational conflict about who succeeds Muhammad or who does, it's not as important as these people over here who are trying to exterminate us. What a miracle! And I think that because of the casualty rate among the dependents, women, children making up more than 50% in Palestine, the replacement of Hamas is not so difficult because of the grievance that are held by these people who are who lost the close loved one.
Okay. Good. Let me bring this. I don't know if you've had this news. This was yesterday also. Denmark. Denmark is a European country up there in the north. Denmark is beginning to recruit women, conscript women into its armed force, because everybody is gearing up for whatever could happen at that corner of the world, you know. So Denmark has called up on women as well as men to expand its conscription plan. He's doing it right now. Yesterday in the news, the Prime Minister met Frederick Hussein, said there is now a new policy that is aimed at increasing the number of young people joining the military, and they are looking more at women. So it's funny. We're in a time where we thought wars are over, dialogue should be the thing, but countries are regrouping to fight more wars and go into more rivalry with themselves. Godwin, Denmark conscripting women to join the army. Did you hear that news? It was in the news yesterday.
You see, it's not so important in terms of the news when such a news for me, because
for you,
it's not let me explain to you. They're not the first. They're not. They remember. Lots of NATO countries are having problems with staffing their armed forces. It's a general problem in all NATO countries, including in the United States. So Denmark trying to mobilize women is not new. Remember, Canada provided millions of dollars to Ukraine for gender inclusive demining as it's called, where I
Defining.
personally wrote that. So
Yeah.
now mothers and
Defining. That was
sisters
it.
can now fully take part in clearing grenades, mines, and
Yeah.
unexploded bombs. I don't think this was what feminism expected, but what do I know? This is I mean, this is sad. It's a very very sad development. But you see, this is how diplomacy, like you rightly
Well,
pointed out, is dying because of the the laxity, complacency, on unipolarity. For a long time after the Second World War, there's just been only one police of the world,
okay.
and it became unimportant for dialogue and power diplomacy among all the other centers of power. Because if the policeman says okay, like the Godfather, then it means it is okay.
Okay.
And then we are now moving to a multipolar world, and people are forgetting how to do diplomacy. With all the different stakeholders are important in ensuring
and
peace.
strategies.
Yes, because peace is not a one-sided thing. I cannot say I want peace, whether you like it or not. So you have to get the buy-in of every other person who is important in forging this peace. And this is one of the disadvantages of a unipolar world having been for so long.
Thank you very much. You are always there with it. Let's go into we can't go without talking about some of these things. I don't know. Did you follow the story of the princess photoshopping her the family photo? Did you follow that story?
No, which one?
Okay, that it's right there on the screen. The normal thing is that at a point in time, the palace brings out a picture of the princess and the children and all that. But this time around, it was done with some twist to it. They photoshopped the picture, and when that kind of thing is done, what that means, they're trying to hide some things. That means it's not generic, it's not organic as it should be, and a lot of things are put into
genuine.
It's not genuine. A lot of things are now put into that context. So we found out on Mother's Day, the princess snapped this photo, what you see there in the screen, viewers. But it turned out that everything was photoshopped: the hand, the leg, this, the that. So, and it brought a lot of talk about the palace. Why are they doing this? Why will they Photoshop? Why are they hiding? What's she trying to say? Companies, all these media companies in the world, AFP, Reuters, all of them took down the photo. None of them have it on their portal, and so we are beginning to say, are we coming to a time when nothing will be real again? Everything will just be artificial. Everything will be AI, Photoshopped, and all that. Godwin, will you guys Photoshop Putin? Where if he's giving some national addresses, will it be real or some AI stunts behind it? So that's the question anyway. Viewers, it's something that happened last week anyway. We just brought it out.
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
I mean, if the picture is so much of a problem, why don't they replace it with Putin's picture? I mean, he wouldn't mind. I mean, at least it will forge diplomacy among the two countries. People will see the importance of having diplomacy.
The picture. Okay, let's go on to the other issue. There's a guy.
I can provide the picture, by the way. I mean,
I trust you. There's a guy called Paul Alexander. I used to follow him back in the days. It's a strange story. He spent vast majority of his life, 70 years of his life, in a compartment called Iron Lung. And he was there. But while there, he became a lawyer. He became an author. I'm trying to get his photo now. But sadly, he passed on Monday at the age of 78. And it sparked a lot of things, because many people said Paul Alexander gave them, hope. I mean, living in a hole, a compartment, and you'll be there all the days of your life, because that thing helps him to breathe. It's an old device that was built in the early 30s to 40s to help people that couldn't breathe naturally breathe. Let's see if we can get the photo. Can you get the photo of Paul Alexander Godwin? Okay, Godwin, you're a medical doctor.
Will take a
The guy.
while.
Okay, yeah, it take a while. I forgot to get that photo, but I know a lot of people are following that story. I see it all over. So anyway, he's dead. He's very sad, but he tried living there, staying under that compartment. Paul became a lawyer, also became a writer. You know, he was writing, he was doing a lot of things with his face backwards. The real reason of his death is not known, but at least he has tried. He was paralyzed from the neck down as a little boy, unable to breathe, and was placed in that iron lung, large metal cylinder that stands on its own and pumps air pressure, stimulates the heartbeat, you know, boom, boom, boom. It will be pumping and helping the person breathe. So our condolence to his family. And a lot of people said he encouraged them. He made them see resilience in themselves too. So that's what we want to see on that. Godwin, do you have anything to say? We're rounding up now. It's an hour now, and go ahead.
May his soul rest in peace.
Okay.
The reason he died was, the reason he died is quite unclear, but we know he had suffered from COVID. But the main reason for his condition was because he had polio, right? Poliomyelitis at the age of 6. This goes to show the extremely damaging effects of polio. And this is a lesson to mothers who have babies or children to ensure that their children are vaccinated against polio, or to have the polio vaccine, because the consequences are very serious, as we see. And it's not fun. It's definitely not fun having to live your life in a machine for decades and decades. I mean, he was one of the very motivated, strong, courageous person who could achieve a lot. But not everyone have that mental fortification to have achieved as much as he did. So please, let's take polio serious, especially polio vaccination. And I'm not. The COVID era was a sad era because it made a lot of people lose trust in vaccinations. I personally, I'm against vaccinations that are not properly vetted. Yes, vetted, and there's no consensus internationally, but much of politicization. Like you can take American vaccine, but leave Sputnik Russian version out instead of bringing as much minds as possible, so that we can collate the results of clinical trials and try to minimize risk as much as possible.
Wow. Viewers, you are hearing from smart, witty gentlemen. Yes, Godwin, thank you for coming by. We've done it. Friday News Echoes World Affairs, today, 15th March, 2024. Yes, Godwin, we'll continue next week. Thank you for coming. Thank you for all you've, taking time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Please leave your opinions in the comments section.
We want to say that, yes, our viewership is doing so well, also from Moscow, Russia. And we want to thank those people that are doing that for us. Thank you for watching, taking your data, your time to watch, listen to us. We appreciate this. We also want to apologize for our 2 days break during the week. We had small glitches with our system, but we're back. We'll be coming along with more good things and better content for you all. Godwin, grazie. Italians will say arrivederci.
And Russians will say spasiba.
Spasiba.